He's coming into the arena now on his 13-year-old horse, one of his 3 horses here. It's MHS King Jules, a decent 4-star performer, and he will be keen to get off to a strong start, John and Bobby.
Well, we of course saw the guinea pig test earlier, and the judges will have had a little discussion afterwards to make sure they're all on the same page, as it were. But this is the first competitor for real. Was from where we saw here a good entry into a halt, but the horse did just drop behind the vertical and drop its poll and not stay connected to the bit. So the judge, particularly on this side of the arena, will possibly comment on that.
And I think the judges, the halts themselves are very, very important, like we were saying earlier, John, that you don't have to have a horse with an amazing movement to come in and get a perfect square halt, but yet you can get a very high mark for it.
You can.
And in this test, there are 3 of them, so I really think today out there they'll be really working on, you know, the easier movements to try and get the higher marks, especially those halts, but, you know, sadly that wasn't square behind, so he has to go a little bit now to try and get the marks up, because the centre line is the first thing the judge will see.
It is, and you know, the first bit of lateral work, shouldering down the 3/4 line, and then from the shoulder in half pass. That shoulder in on the quarter line leaves you nowhere to hide. You can't let the quarters escape because there are no boards to hold them in. So it needs to be a true shoulder in, not a quarters out.
Absolutely, and there isn't enough time, is there, John? That
No.
if they have a mistake at the beginning, you know, there really isn't enough time to fix it before all of a sudden you're in the half pass. But I think by putting the shoulder in there, it really does help get the horse in the right position for the half pass. Do you agree?
Yeah, and it gives you a chance to really showcase and improve the suppleness that you then need in the half pass. And we're talking about uniform bend through the body rather than just a bend in the neck.
Exactly, getting that banana shape, like you'd say,
Yeah.
around the inside leg, which is incredibly important. You just, Ollie just came to the halt there. The halt rein back was much better, actually, that first halt there.
The walk is very relaxed, which of course is one requirement that we want to see in the walk. But, you know, these horses are quite fit and ready to gallop, and therefore sometimes you put relaxation higher up the order than you would on another day. But I'd like to see a little bit more purpose and forward thinking in the walk. It's very regular and it's very relaxed and it's correct.
Just a little bit more ground cover needed and
Yeah.
a little bit more steady contact. And it's very interesting how they've put the extended walk there on the half circle. It is difficult for the horse to come away from the track. So, you know, they've placed that into test just so the judges can see that the horse isn't falling through the outside shoulder. So it's very important that when the rider's riding the half circle that they keep that outside knee, outside rein to control the shoulder so there isn't, you know, any jogging like we were saying or any tenseness.
And again, really getting that quality of canter transition, because you're then going straight into a medium canter. And if you're a little bit quiet in the collected canter, of course, the medium is more difficult to achieve.
The marking he's getting, is it sort of around about 7 any 8s, or where do you put it? I was looking at it. I haven't seen a 9 or anything like that, but is it a solid test?
So far, it's mistake-free, and it's a clear round. It's a smooth test. I mean, I'm sure
Nice flying change there as well.
Ollie's, you know, keeping everything very fluent, and if you can rack up 7s and the odd 8 through a clear round test, then you're getting some very good marks. I'm sure there are moments that he'd like to ride a little bit more for a 9 or a 10, but that's not always the wisest thing to do. And again, there, for me, more hind leg in the canter is going to help him keep the balance of the horse there, going into one of the new movements from last year, which is the stretching.
You know, that stretch is a really, really hard movement, isn't it? Especially, you know, for a horse that has to be quite hot and ready for the show jumping and the cross country to suddenly be able to relax and go down into the bridle, over their back, into a canter. So it is quite a hard movement to do.
And again, it comes from the hind leg, as everything in the dressage training and the jumping training does. If the horse is engaged in the hind leg, using its core to carry its shoulders to the contact, then the stretch is part of that connection.
Absolutely, you know, the hind legs, that's what gives the adjustability to the horse itself and the movements.
Yeah. And again there, unfortunately, a little step back in the halt, which you know, maybe the theme of the whole test, that the horse wasn't in front of the leg as much as he could have been. But again, it's a little bit of a juggling act sometimes. If I make the horse a little bit more in front of my leg and go for a bit more quality,
Do you get the walk?
am I going to
Absolutely.
blow it all? You know, nothing went wrong. The changes were clean. He executed every movement. Yes, there could have been a little bit more energy and quality. That would have improved the carriage. But at the end of the day, Ollie's obviously very pleased
Absolutely.
with what the horse has achieved.